Far away from Earth, in a quiet corner of the galaxy, there was a peaceful planet named Velmora. The sky of Velmora was soft blue during the day and full of shining colors at night. The people of this world, called Velmorans, were calm and gentle. They lived in harmony with nature and never harmed anyone. Their villages were built near glowing rivers and tall, smooth trees that hummed with soft music when the wind passed through. Among these people was a mother named Rala. She was kind, quiet, and full of love. Her heart was heavy with sadness because her little daughter, Aina, was very sick. Aina was not like other children. Her skin was losing color, her eyes were tired, and her small body was weak. She could not run, play, or even laugh like she used. 2. The healers of Velmora had tried every method they knew. They used herbs from the shining forests and waters from the healing springs, but nothing helped. Aina grew weaker each day. Rala sat by Aina's side every morning and every night. She held her daughter's small hand and whispered softly, "I'm here, my little light. I won't give up." The Velmorans didn't understand the illness. It was not something they had seen before. It was quiet, slow, and dangerous. They called it the fading. One evening, after a long and silent day, Rayla walked to the hill near the edge of her village. She looked up at the sky. The stars sparkled like diamonds, and a soft wind brushed her face. Tears ran down her cheeks, but her voice stayed calm. She raised her arms and whispered to the stars, "Please, someone out there, help my daughter. I don't care who you are. Just help me save her." Velmorans were not known for asking help from other worlds. They believed in solving their problems with their own knowledge. But Rala had already lost so much. She had lost her partner many cycles ago in a forest accident. Aina was all she had left. That night, Rala went to the Council of Elders. It was a round room in the center of the village, made of shining stone and soft light. The elders were the oldest and wisest among the Velmorans. They listened calmly as Rala spoke. "I am not here to ask for more healing," she said. "I am here to ask for hope. There is no cure on Velmora. Maybe there is one out there, among the stars." Most elders looked at each other, unsure. Velmorans had not contacted another species in many years. They believed that peace meant staying away from the troubles of the wider galaxy. But one elder, Maru, an old man with silver skin and warm eyes, nodded slowly. "Sometimes answers come from far places. If we do not try, we will never know." After a quiet moment, the council agreed. A small team went to the Sky Tower, a place where messages could be sent into space. They sent a simple, clear message in many languages. "This is Rala of Velmora. My daughter is sick. We do not know the cure. If there is anyone out there with knowledge, with a kind heart, we ask for help. Please." The message left Velmora and traveled through space, moving past stars, moons, and dust clouds. Days passed, then weeks. Rala waited beside her daughter's bed. She still held Aina's hand. Aina slept most of the time now. Her breathing was soft and slow. In a far-off place, on a dry land on Earth, a young human named Toma worked in a small science center. Toma wasn't famous. He didn't wear a fancy lab coat or work in a big city. He lived in a quiet place and studied space signals for fun and learning. He liked helping people, even if no one noticed. Late one night, a signal beeped on his screen. Toma rubbed his eyes and leaned forward. It was soft, full of sadness, but clear. He listened to the voice of Rala and read the translated message. "My daughter is sick. We ask for help." Toma sat in silence for a long moment. Then he stood up and said quietly, "I have to go." He didn't know the planet. He didn't know the aliens. But he knew that someone was asking for help and no one else might answer. Toma didn't wait for permission. He had an old research ship that he'd been fixing for years. He packed tools, medicine, and data about human biology and healing. He wasn't a doctor. but he had studied enough science and medicine to try. As the sun rose, Toma looked one last time at Earth. Then he turned on his ship's engine, opened the star map, and aimed for Velmora. Back on Velmora, Rala looked at the stars once again. She didn't know her message had reached anyone, but deep inside, she felt a small light of hope. Maybe, just maybe, someone was coming. The stars moved slowly above Velmora, and the wind whispered through the tall, glowing trees. In her small home, Riley sat beside her daughter Ina. The girl's breath was soft and shallow. Her skin, once full of light, was pale now. But her hand was still warm, and that gave Rala hope. Every morning, Rala checked Ina's heartbeat. Every night, she whispered the same words. "Stay strong, little light. Help is coming." Far away, across galaxies, her message had already found someone. On Earth, Toma sat in his tiny spaceship, staring at the blinking light on his screen. The message from Rala played again and again. Her voice was calm, but full of sadness. Toma was not a rich scientist or a trained doctor, but he was smart, curious, and kind. He believed that no problem was too big if someone tried with a good heart. He had learned many things about science, healing, and the stars. He spent his free time helping others in small villages on Earth. He believed that every life mattered no matter where it came from. He turned on his ship's voice log. "Log 01, he said. "I received a message from a far planet called Velmora. A mother there is asking for help. Her daughter is very sick. I don't know if I can save her, but I'm going." He packed medical scanners, data pads, plant samples, and old books with Earth medicine. He charged his ship's power core, checked the star maps, and entered the coordinates. Toma's ship was not fast, but it was strong and ready. As the engines lit up, the ground shook gently. The ship rose into the sky, leaving behind Earth's clouds and blue oceans. Toma looked down one last time and whispered, "I'll be back. I hope." The journey through space was long. Toma flew past red stars, silent moons, and dark fields of dust. Sometimes he listened to music. Other times he studied Ina's symptoms, which were included in the Velmoran message. He made notes, created charts, and compared them with human illnesses. Learned that Velmorans had very soft body energy. Their cells moved slower than human cells. They needed more light and warmth to survive. Ina's illness, the fading, was not an infection. It was a slow loss of energy inside her cells. Her body was forgetting how to heal itself. Toma recorded his findings. "Her body is tired," he said, speaking into the log. "Maybe it needs something that Earth bodies produce naturally. If I'm right, I might be able to help her." He also thought about the planet. What would Velmora look like? Would the people trust him? Would they even let him near the child? He didn't. No. But he believed something deeply. Kindness could build trust. Weeks later, Toma's ship reached Velmora. As he entered the planet's sky, he was surprised by what he saw. The forests were glowing with soft blue lights. Rivers sparkled like silver. The mountains were tall and smooth, with mist floating around them. Birds with long wings flew in slow, quiet patterns. Toma landed his ship near a peaceful village built near a bright river. Velmoran houses were shaped like shells, made of living crystal. The light in the village came from stones that glowed with warmth, not fire. Everything felt calm. But as Toma stepped out of his ship, a group of Velmorans stood nearby, watching. Their faces were kind but cautious. Their clothes were soft and flowing, made from the leaves of glowing trees. One of them stepped forward. It was Elder Maru. "Are you the human who answered our call?" he asked. Toma nodded. "Yes, I'm Toma. I came to help." Maru studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Come, but know this: our people are careful. We do not let outsiders close unless we trust them." "I understand," Toma said. Maru led Toma through the village. Some Velmorans watched from windows. Others whispered quietly. Toma kept his head low and walked calmly. He didn't want to scare anyone. They reached a small home near the river. Maru knocked gently. The door opened. Rala stood there, her eyes full of surprise. She looked at Toma, then back at Maru. "This is him," Maru said. "The human who came." Rala stepped aside. "Please come in." Toma entered and saw Aina. She lay on a soft bed made of moss and glowing threads. Her chest rose and fell slowly. Her eyes opened for a second, then closed again. "She's still fighting," Rala said softly. Toma knelt beside the bed. He gently scanned Aina with his device. Her body energy was very low. Her cells were weak. But something inside her was still holding on. "She's strong," Toma said. "Her body is tired, but her heart is not giving up." Rala looked at him with tired eyes. "Can you help her?" "I'll try," Toma said. "I don't have magic, but I have science. And I have hope." Really smiled a little. It was the first time she had smiled in many days. That night, Toma set up his small lab beside Rayla's house. He worked late, looking at Aina's scan results. He wrote down everything he noticed. He compared her energy patterns to Earth's. Cells. Then he saw something. Her body lacked a small type of energy, something similar to a TP in human biology, which gave cells the power to move and repair. If he could find a safe way to give this energy to Aina, maybe her body could heal itself. He added a note to his log. "There's hope, but I'll need help from the Velmarins. And I'll need to earn their trust." The next morning, Rala brought Toma a bowl of warm plant broth. "This helps our bodies rest," she said. Toma smiled. "Thank you." She sat beside him. "I don't know you, but I believe you came with a kind heart." "I did," Toma said. "I don't promise a miracle, but I promise effort." And so a small light of hope began to grow, not just in Rala's heart, but in the village too. The human had come, not with loud machines or sharp tools, but with patience and care. The stars had heard Rayleigh's call, and Toma had answered. Toma woke up early the next morning. The soft light of Velmora's sun came through the window of his small room. Outside, he could hear birds singing slowly and leaves whispering in the wind. This world was calm and beautiful. But Toma did not come here to enjoy the view. He came to help a child. He stepped outside and saw Ryla already sitting by her daughter's side. Little Aina was still sleeping. Her face looked peaceful, but her skin remained pale. Rala gently held her daughter's hand and whispered a soft song. Toma waited quietly until Riley stood up. She didn't wake up during the night. She said in a quiet voice. Toma nodded. "I will keep trying. I think I found something important." He opened his small scanner and showed Ryla a moving image of cells. "Ina's body is not broken," he explained, "but her cells are not getting the energy they need. On Earth, we have a tiny part inside our cells that gives us power. I believe something like that is missing or weak in Aina." Rala listened carefully. She didn't understand everything, but she saw the kindness and care in Toma's eyes. That was enough. For her, "Can it be fixed?" she asked. "Maybe," Toma said. "But I need a special plant to help balance her body. I found a match in your planet's records. It's called Lumra." Rala's eyes widened. "The Lumra plant? It grows in the northern cliffs. That place is far. Not many people go there. The path is cold and full of fog." "I'll go," Toma said without hesitation. "You won't find the path alone," she replied. "I will go with you." Toma looked at her with surprise. "But you need to be with Aina." Rayleigh shook her head. "My sister will stay with her. I cannot sit and do nothing. If there is a chance to help my child, I must walk that path." The next morning, Toma and Rala began their journey. They packed food, water, and warm blankets. Rala carried a small map drawn on soft stone, and Toma brought his scanning tools. As they walked away from the village, the trees grew taller and the light dimmer. The path was narrow, with glowing stones on each side. Mist floated between the trees, and the air was cool. They didn't speak much at first. The forest was quiet, and their hearts were full of thoughts. But after some time, Rala began to speak. "When Aina was born," she said softly, "her eyes shined like the stars. She would laugh every time I sang. Her father used to carry her through the forest and tell her stories about the sky." Toma smiled. She must have been full of joy. "She still is," Rala said, her voice calm but full of feeling. "But now her joy sleeps." They stopped by a stream to drink water. Toma sat on a rock and looked up at the trees. "This world is peaceful," he said. "Very different from Earth." "Tell me about Earth," Rala asked. Toma thought for a moment. "It's loud, busy. We build many things, and sometimes we forget to listen. But Earth is also full of wonder. We have mountains, oceans, and forests too. And some people still care deeply. That's why I came. Because if someone is asking for help, we must answer." Rala looked at him quietly and nodded. She began to see that Toma was not just a human, he was a good soul. After hours of walking, they reached the base of the cliffs. The air was colder. Now and the sky was cloudy. A soft wind moved the mist around them. Toma used his scanner. "There's a signal," he said. "The lumra plants are somewhere up there." The climb was not easy. The rocks were smooth and sometimes slippery. But Rala knew the paths. She had climbed here once, long ago, when she was young. As they climbed higher, the mist grew thick. Toma could barely see a few steps ahead. But Rala's voice guided him, just a little further. After some time, they reached a wide stone field. In the center, under a small crystal tree, the lumra plant grew. Its petals were silver blue, and its leaves glowed softly. Toma carefully picked a few flowers and placed them inside a special container. "This will help stabilize the cure," he said. "Ina's body will accept the energy better with this." Rala touched the petals gently. "Thank you," she whispered to the plant, to the sky, and to the one who came to help. As they walked back down the cliffs, the mist began to clear. The sun broke through the clouds, and soft light touched the trees again. Halfway through their return journey, Rala looked at Toma and said, "You risked much to come here." "Why?" Toma paused. "Because no child should suffer alone." "Because if I had a daughter and I sent a message to the stars, I would want someone to answer." Rala felt her eyes fill with tears. Not of sadness, but of quiet gratitude. "You are more than what we expected," she said. Toma smiled. "I'm just a human. But maybe being human means caring, even when the path is far." By the time they returned to the village, night had fallen. Elder Maru met them at the edge of the village. "Did you find it?" he asked. Toma nodded and held up the glowing plant. "Yes, now we can begin the real work." Inside the house, Aina still rested. Her breath was faint, but steady. Rala kissed her forehead gently. "We are back," she whispered. "And help has truly come." Toma set up his tools and began preparing the mixture using the lumra plant. He worked carefully, checking every step. Outside, the villagers watched. In silence, some were still unsure. But others began to believe. This human had come with no weapons, no loud machines, only heart, hope, and hands ready to help. And for the first time in many cycles, Velmora's night sky felt brighter. The night was quiet in the Velmoran village. Stars shone above like tiny lamps in the sky. Toma sat inside Rala's house, carefully preparing the medicine. The lumra plant petals were now mixed with a clear liquid from his ship. The gentle glow of the mixture gave him hope. Beside him, Rila watched silently. Her heart beat fast, but she stayed calm. Her daughter, Aina, still rested quietly, her chest rising and falling slowly. Toma checked the energy levels of the mixture. "This should help," he said. "Her body needs this support. If it works, her cells will start to recover." Rala nodded but said nothing. She kept her eyes on Aina. Outside, some villagers stood nearby. They whispered to each other. Some looked worried, others curious. A few did not trust the human. One of the villagers, a tall man named Daryl, frowned and crossed his arms. "We do not know this human," he said to Elder Maru. "What if he brings danger? What if his medicine hurts the child?" Elder Maru looked at Daryl calmly. He came with peace. He did not force his way in. He walked through the mist with the mother. He risked much for a child he never met. "But he is not one of us," Daryl said. "No," Maru agreed. "But sometimes help comes from someone different. We must see what his heart shows." Inside the house, Toma was almost ready. He looked at Rayla. "I will give her the first few drops now, just a little to see how her body reacts." Rayla held Ina's hand and gave a small nod. Toma took a soft crystal spoon and placed a few drops of the glowing mixture on Ina's lips. The liquid disappeared quickly, absorbed by her body. Then they waited. Seconds passed, then minutes. Ina did not move. Toma checked his scanner. The numbers were slow but steady. "She is accepting it," he said softly. "Her body is not fighting." Rala took a deep breath. "Is that good?" "Yes, very good." Outside the window, Daryl stood with crossed arms. "If something goes wrong," he whispered, "we will stop him." But Elder Maru raised a hand. "Give the human time." The next morning, the village woke to something they had not heard in days. A small sound. It was not loud. It was soft and faint, but it was new. It was Ina's voice. She whispered a word. Just one. "Ma." Rayla jumped up from her seat. She leaned close to her daughter. "Ina?" The child's eyes opened slightly. She looked at her mother and gave a weak smile. Rala held her gently, her eyes full of tears. "You're awake." Toma stood back, smiling. "She is still weak, but the medicine is working. Her energy is growing." The news spread through the village like a warm wind. Villagers gathered outside Rala's house, speaking in hushed voices. She spoke. She opened her eyes. "The human's cure is working." But not everyone was happy. Daryl stepped forward. "Just one word. That does not mean she is healed. We should wait before we trust him fully." Another villager, a woman named Lena, spoke gently. But he tried. He brought back the Lumra. No Velmoran would risk that journey for a child who is not their own. Inside the house, Toma gave Ina a second dose of the medicine. He made sure it was small and safe. Ina's breathing became stronger. Her color started to return. She smiled again when Rala sang her soft song. Rala turned to Toma. "You did something our people could not. You brought her back to us." Toma shook his head. "She fought. I only gave her the help she needed." Later that day, Elder Maru called a village meeting near the crystal fountain. The villagers gathered, sitting on smooth stones under the large glowing trees. Miru stood with Rala and Toma. He spoke in a calm, clear voice. "A child was fading," he said. "We tried our ways, but nothing worked." Then, from beyond the stars, came a message. And someone answered. He looked at Toma. This human walked among us without fear. He helped without asking anything. He brought hope to a mother and life to a child. Daryl stood. "And what if this human changes our ways? What if he brings more humans? What if this is only the beginning of something we cannot stop?" Maru replied, "Sometimes change begins with kindness. We do not know the future. But we know this, when we needed help, someone answered." Toma stepped forward. "I did not come to change your world. I only came to help one life. I asked nothing in return. But if I can share what I know, maybe I can help more." The villagers stayed quiet for a moment. Then, slowly, one by one, they nodded. Lena spoke. "Maybe it is time to learn from others." Daryl did not speak again. He only looked at Toma for a long time, then walked away. That evening, Rayla and Toma sat beside Ina. She was now awake and sitting up, smiling softly. "She is strong," Toma said. Rala nodded. "And so are you." Toma looked out the window. The stars were starting to shine again. "I didn't know what I would find here," he said, "but I found people who care deeply. And a child who refused to give up." Rala looked at him. "You brought a new light to our world." "No," Toma said with a smile. "Aina did." And in that quiet moment, filled with hope and peace, a new bond was born, not just between two beings, but between two worlds. The human had not come as a stranger anymore. He was now a friend. Morning arrived on Velmora, bringing soft sunlight that gently touched the tops of the trees. Birds with glowing feathers sang sweet songs in the trees above the village. The wind was cool, and the air was full of peace. Inside her small home, Ryla smiled as she watched her daughter Aina sit up for the first time in many days. Aina's cheeks had color again. Her eyes were brighter, and her small hands felt warmer. She was still weak, but no longer fading. Beside them, Toma prepared the next dose of the glowing medicine. He had made sure it was gentle and just right for Aina's body. As he handed it to Ryla, she whispered, "Thank you." Toma shook his head with a kind smile. "It was your hope that kept her strong. I only brought a small piece of help." Outside, more villagers had gathered. They didn't speak loudly. They just waited and watched. Slowly, their doubt was changing into belief. Some brought fruit and food as gifts. Others left shining stones near Toma's ship as a quiet way of saying, "Thank you." Even Daryl, who had once spoken against Toma, stood near the back. He didn't speak, but his eyes were softer now. Later that day, Toma sat near the river with his scanner. He looked at the results from Aina's energy readings. He wanted to be sure the cure was working completely and that it could help others. As he looked deeper into the data, something caught his attention. Aina's body had started producing a special type of energy on its own, something that wasn't there before the medicine. He blinked. This isn't just healing her. It's teaching her body how to stay healed. He called Elder Maru and Rala to explain. "Her cells are now remembering the energy," he said. "It's like they have learned a new way to stay strong. This could help others in the future." Maru's eyes widened. "Do you mean we could stop this illness from returning?" "Yes," Toma said, "but I need to understand more. Aina's body is special. I think there's something inside her, something rare. Her body accepted the human energy faster than I expected. Maybe it's not just the medicine. Maybe Aina has something unique inside her." Ray looked surprised. "What do you mean?" "I need to check her deeper cell patterns," Toma said. "Not to harm her, but to learn. I believe she carries a rare gift. Maybe this is why the illness affected her so strongly, and also why she survived." Maru nodded slowly. "Then you must study carefully. If this can help other children, we must know," Toma agreed. He worked late into the night, studying Aina's scans. He compared her cell patterns with the data from other Velmorans. Slowly, a pattern began to appear. Aina's body had a tiny energy spark that was not common in her species. It was almost like a missing puzzle piece had been found. And when the human medicine connected with it, something amazing happened. It activated a full recovery. Toma sat back in his chair and smiled. "That's it. That's the hidden answer." He quickly recorded everything into his log. Aina's body holds a rare energy type, like a sleeping light inside her. The human bioenergy from the medicine woke it up. This means she wasn't just healed, she became a key. If we can understand this energy, we can create a full cure for others. The next morning, Toma met with the elders again. He showed them the results. "This illness may affect others in your world," he said. "It hides inside the body for a long time. Aina was the first to show strong symptoms, but others may carry the same weakness without knowing it." Maru looked around at the other elders. "We must prepare." Toma continued. Now that we understand Ina's gift, I can help create a stronger version of the medicine. But I will need samples from other healthy children. Just a few small energy scans to make sure the cure works for everyone. Some elders looked unsure. But when Rala spoke, they listened. My child was almost gone, she said softly. Now. She is smiling again. This human gave her a second chance. I trust him. I hope you will too. One by one, the elders agreed. For the next few days, Toma worked with the village healers. He showed them how to use his scanner and how to collect safe readings from other children. The village worked together like never before. People brought herbs, clean water, and even soft cloths for the new medicine. Ina sat outside under the warm sun, watching birds fly by. Other children came to sit near her. They gave her small gifts, flowers, fruits, and drawings. She laughed quietly and held their hands. Rala watched them with joy in her eyes. For the first time in many days, she felt peace in her heart. That night, Elder Maru stood with Toma in the center of the village. The stars above were bright. You have done more than save a life, Maru said. You brought learning. You brought trust. Toma smiled. I didn't do it alone. Rala believed. In me, Ina fought bravely. And you opened the door. Maru nodded. Do you plan to return to your world soon? Toma looked up at the stars. Not yet. There's more to learn here. If you will allow me, I'd like to stay for some time and help more. Maru placed a hand on his shoulder. You are welcome here, Toma of Earth. You are no longer a visitor. You are part of our story now. Back inside the house, Ryla sat beside Ina as she fell asleep. She held her daughter's hand and whispered softly, You are strong, little one. You are the light that showed us the way. And just outside, under the glowing trees, Toma looked toward the future, not just for one child, but for an entire world ready to heal, grow, and shine. Morning light touched the quiet village of Velmora. The sky above was soft blue, and the trees sparkled with gentle colors. Everything felt fresh, like a new beginning. Inside her home, Ryla sat with Ina, who now sat up easily, smiling more each day. Her hands were stronger, and her laughter was returning. She could walk short steps again, and her eyes followed the birds outside. The window with joy. It felt like a dream. The child who was once fading was now shining again. Toma entered the house with a warm bowl of fruit. Good morning, he said, smiling. I brought her favorites. Ina looked up and laughed. Thank you, Toma. Toma sat beside her. How do you feel today? Happy, she replied. And hungry. Rayleigh laughed softly. That's a good sign, Toma nodded. Very good. Soon, she'd be strong enough to run again. Word of Ina's recovery had reached nearby villages. Other Velmorans traveled to see the girl who had returned from the edge of life. They brought gifts, soft leaves, singing shells, and drawings made by their children. They also came to meet the human. Toma answered all their questions kindly. He showed them how the energy medicine worked and explained that Ina's body helped unlock a cure that could protect many others in the future. Some healers took notes on stone tablets. Others asked if he could help their sick or weak children. Toma always said the same thing. I will do my best. I came to help, not to change your ways, but to share what I've learned. One afternoon, Elder Maru called a gathering near the crystal fountain at the center of the village. The glowing trees gave soft light as the villagers sat in a large circle. Rala, Ina, and Toma sat together. Maru stood in front of everyone and spoke. We gather here not for worry or fear, but for joy. A child who was once silent now sings again. A mother who once cried now smiles. A visitor who came from the stars gave us a new chance. The villagers clapped gently. Maru continued. We cannot forget what has happened. Let us hear the voice of the one who came in peace. Toma stood up. He looked at the many faces, some familiar and some new. I didn't know if I would be welcomed here, he began. I didn't know if I could help, but I knew I had to try. He looked at Ina, who gave him a bright smile. She gave me hope. Even when she was weak, her body fought to live. Ryla never gave up, and all of you, your patience and care made this possible. Toma paused for a moment. I came as a stranger, but now I feel like I am part of something greater. I want to stay for a little longer and help your people. I believe there's still much we can learn together. The villagers clapped again. Some smiled. Others wiped quiet tears from their eyes. Daryl, who once doubted Toma, stood and raised his voice. I once feared the human's way, he said honestly. But I see now I was wrong. He did not come to take, he came to give. And for that, I thank him. The villagers cheered gently, and the fountain behind them glowed a little brighter, as if the village itself was smiling. As the days passed, Toma began helping the village in new ways. He showed the healers how to create simple scanners using local crystals. He helped teach children about energy, light, and how small things can make big changes. Ina often walked beside him, asking questions and laughing with joy. One day, while working with the village healers, Toma felt something different inside. A warmth that wasn't from the sun. A calm feeling deep in his chest. It was peace. He had helped others before on Earth, but here on Velmora it felt more meaningful. It was not just about solving a problem. It was about becoming part of a family. That evening, Riley invited him to sit with her and Ina near the glowing river. The water danced with light, and small fish sparkled like stars beneath the surface. You have changed our lives, Rala said softly. Toma shook his head. No, you changed mine. Ina leaned against her mother and whispered, will you stay with us forever, Toma? Toma smiled gently. I don't know how long I can stay, but a part of me will always be here with you. Rala nodded. Wherever you go, we will remember. You came when no one else did. You gave us light when all felt dark. That night, a soft wind moved through the village. The trees hummed a peaceful tune. The stars above were bright and clear. Toma stood outside, looking up at the sky. His small ship sat nearby, but he didn't look at it. His heart was full, and his work was not yet done. He had arrived as a traveler from Earth, but now he was more than that. He was a friend, a helper, a bringer of new light. The soft orange sun of Velmora rose over the hills, painting the sky with gold and blue. The village was quiet, but full of peace. Birds sang from the glowing trees, and the sound of the crystal river moved gently through the air. Inside Rala's home, little Ina laughed as she played with a group of children. She ran a little now, stronger than before. Her cheeks were full of color, her steps full of joy. Her laugh was like music to Rala's ears. Rala watched her daughter with gentle eyes, her heart full of peace and pride. The long days of fear and sadness now felt far behind. Beside her, Toma stood, smiling. She's stronger than ever, he said. Rala nodded. Because of you. No, Toma said, looking at Ina, because of her. She never gave up. She showed all of us how to fight gently. Rala smiled. Still, your kindness lit the way. That afternoon, Elder Maru invited Toma to the top of the sky tower, a tall round place where messages once reached across the stars. It was the same place where Rala had once sent her voice, asking the stars for help. Now, something new was waiting. Come, Maru said. We have something to show you. As they reached the top, Toma saw a glowing circle made of light crystals. In the center was a map, showing lines that connected Velmora to other distant worlds. This, Maru said, is our way to open again. For many years we stayed silent. We feared the noise of the galaxy. But now we understand. He looked at Toma with soft eyes. Help can come from anywhere. Sometimes even from those we never knew. You reminded us that trust is not weakness. It is the beginning of something beautiful. Toma stepped closer and touched one of the glowing stones. So you'll speak to other worlds again? Maru nodded. Carefully, with peace in our hearts. And you, Toma, will be remembered as the one who opened the door again. Toma felt a warm wave in his chest. Not pride, but something deeper. A quiet joy. In the days that followed, many changes came. Toma helped train young Velmorans to use simple healing tools. He gave them knowledge about human medicine, but always with respect for their ways. He worked side by side with the village healers and never acted like he was greater than them. He even helped build a small learning room where children from different villages could come to study light, energy, plants, and kindness. Ina visited often. She said she wanted to become a healer like her mother and like Toma. One evening, as Toma packed small supplies near his ship, Ina came running to him with a glowing drawing she had made. It showed 3 figures, one tall, Toma, one holding a child, Rala, and one smiling in the sun, Ina. Behind them was a ship, and above, stars filled the sky. Toma took the drawing and smiled wide. This is beautiful. It's for you, Ina said, so you never forget us. I never could, Toma said, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. That night, Ryla found Toma looking at the stars. He had been quiet for the last few days, and she knew why. You're thinking about leaving, she said softly. Toma nodded. I've stayed longer than I planned. I didn't expect to find so much here. You've given us everything, Rala said. And we will never forget. But you still have your own world. Your own people. Yes, Toma said. But now, I have 2 homes. They stood in silence for a moment. The trees hummed gently in the breeze. I don't want to leave, he finally said. But I think it's time, Rayleigh smiled gently. Sometimes the ones we love must fly to new skies, but the bond stays. Toma nodded. I'll return, one day. We'll be waiting. On the morning of his departure, the whole village gathered. Ina ran up to him and gave him a small bag of soft glowstones. These are for your ship, so it always shines. Elder Maru gave him a scroll with the seal of the council. A symbol of our thanks. Lena handed him a warm blanket made from forest threads. To keep you safe in the cold of space. Even. Daryl, now fully changed in heart, stepped forward and offered a simple wooden carving of the village tree. Toma stood in front of them, holding back his emotions. I came with nothing, he said, but I'm leaving with everything that matters. He looked at Rayleigh and Ina. You gave me more than a mission. You gave me meaning. He turned toward his ship. As he stepped inside, the lights blinked softly, as if welcoming him home. The engine started, and the village watched as the ship slowly lifted from the ground. From the window, Toma waved. Ina waved back, her eyes shining but not sad. The ship rose higher and higher until it disappeared into the sky. Weeks passed. Then seasons changed, but the story of the human who came to save one child and stayed to teach many became a legend. A small statue was placed near the river where Toma once sat with Ina. It showed a figure holding a light, surrounded by stars. And beside it, a simple message was written in both Velmoran and Earth languages. He came from afar, not to rule, not to lead, but to heal. His gift was not only knowledge but care. Ina grew stronger every year. She became a healer just like she promised. And every time she saw a falling star, she smiled. Maybe he's watching, she would whisper. And somewhere, across the stars, inside his little ship, Toma looked at the glowing stones by his seat. The drawing stuck to the wall, and the quiet message in his heart. They were worth everything.